When you walk into a relationship as a woman with wisdom, with years of experience behind you, the very first thing you must anchor yourself in is knowing your worth. Too many times, people confuse age with decline, but what you carry within you is not a sign of weakness. It is a crown. It is proof that you've lived, that you've learned, that you've overcome, and that you've earned every ounce of respect you deserve. When dealing with a younger man, the biggest mistake you can ever make is forgetting that crown, forgetting the power that life itself has placed on your head. The world will try to tell you that youth is the ultimate currency, but let me tell you something. Character, wisdom, stability, and self-respect outlast every wrinkle, outshine every trend, and outweigh every shallow attraction. Knowing your worth means walking into that relationship without apology. It means you don't downplay your age, you don't shrink your accomplishments, and you don't pretend to be less than you are just to make him feel more comfortable. If a younger man chooses to be with you, then he must rise to your level. You do not step down to his. Too often, women make the mistake of adjusting, molding, and bending themselves in ways that strip away their dignity, just to hold on to someone who hasn't even proven that he values them. You cannot afford that. Your worth is not up for negotiation. Understand this: a woman who knows her value cannot be manipulated by flattery, cannot be shaken by insecurity, and cannot be replaced by someone younger simply because she recognizes that what she brings to the table is deeper than looks. It is substance. When you forget your worth, you give a younger man the opportunity to set the terms, to dictate how the relationship flows. But when you stand tall in your identity, you set the standard, you establish the pace, you make it clear that your time is precious and that being with you is not a favor to you. It is a privilege for him. There's power in knowing who you are. It keeps you from giving when he hasn't earned it. It stops you from excusing immature behavior because you don't want to seem difficult. It gives you the courage to walk away when the energy isn't being matched. A younger man may come into your life bringing charm, excitement, and adventure, but you bring depth, clarity, and grounding. Don't ever forget that. Don't ever allow him or anyone else to make you feel like your age is something to hide. Know your age is something to stand on because it tells the story of survival, of wisdom, of strength. Know your worth. Guard it. Protect it. Celebrate it. If you ever compromise it, you'll end up giving more than you should and receiving less than you deserve. But if you hold on to it, you'll command respect, inspire admiration, and you'll never have to beg for love. You'll attract it naturally. That is the power of a woman who knows her worth. Do not compete with youth, because the moment you try, you've already stepped into a game you cannot win. The beauty of being an older woman is that you don't need to play that game at all. When you're with a younger man, the temptation might be there to dress younger, act younger, or even silence parts of yourself so you can blend in with his world. But here's the truth. What makes you radiant is not imitation, it's authenticity. A younger man might bring energy, excitement, and a different perspective, but your strength lies in your confidence, in the grace you carry, in the quiet power that only comes with experience. When you forget that and begin to compete with younger women, you rob yourself of the very thing that makes you magnetic. Your maturity. Confidence is more attractive than trying to mimic youth. A younger man doesn't seek you out because you can match the age of his friends. He seeks you out because you carry something deeper. You carry calm where others carry chaos. You carry stability where others bring inconsistency. You carry a presence that cannot be manufactured. When you lean into that, you remind him and yourself that you're not here to compete, you're here to complement. You're not here to prove you can still run the race of youth. You're here to show him there's an entirely different kind of race, one that's run with wisdom and vision. The danger comes when an older woman starts believing she needs to keep up with the young crowd to be seen, to be valued, or to be loved. That's when she begins to lose herself. Don't ever compromise your identity for temporary validation. Don't dress against your own comfort just to impress him. Don't engage in habits that don't align with your values simply to look fun. Because at the end of the day, the real attraction is not in your ability to mimic his world, but in your ability to remain anchored in your own. Understand this: confidence has no expiration date. A woman who knows who she is, who walks into a room with certainty, will outshine youthful energy every time. Competing with youth keeps you chasing approval, but embracing confidence keeps you in command. And let me tell you something. Men, regardless of age, are drawn to women who are unapologetic about who they are. They don't need to prove, they simply are. That's the space you need to live in. So never compete with youth. Embrace the fact that your life has given you wisdom that no 20-something could fake. Embrace your laughter lines because they tell a story of joy. Embrace your scars because they speak of resilience. And embrace your calm spirit because it shows you have walked through storms and come out stronger. If a younger man is truly worthy of your time, he will see the beauty in your authenticity, not in your imitation. Remember, confidence is the crown you wear, and when you wear it proudly, you'll never feel the need to compete. You'll already know you've won. When you find yourself in a relationship with a younger man, one of the biggest traps you must avoid is competing with youth. The moment you try to compete, you step out of your lane and you lose the advantage that life has already given you. You don't need to dress younger, talk younger, or behave younger in order to be desirable. Your value doesn't come from trying to copy youth. It comes from fully embracing the woman you have become. Confidence and authenticity will always be more powerful than imitation. You see, the mistake many older women make is believing they need to prove they can keep up with the young crowd. They'll try to change the way they dress, the way they speak, even the way they think, just to feel relevant to a younger man. But here's the truth. The reason he's drawn to you in the first place isn't because you can blend into his world. He's drawn because you bring something that women his age may not yet carry. You bring stability, wisdom, and a depth that only comes from walking through life's seasons. When you start competing with youth, you water down your own uniqueness. You hand away the very power that made you stand out. You must understand that youthful energy is temporary, but maturity has no expiration date. A younger man can bring excitement, yes, but you bring grounding. He can bring passion, but you bring perspective. He may bring curiosity, but you bring clarity. When you try to compete, you lower yourself to a game that isn't meant for you. But when you stand tall in your maturity, you raise the standard, and he must rise to meet you. That's how balance is created. There is something magnetic about a woman who knows she has nothing to prove. A woman who isn't trying to be anyone, but herself is untouchable. That level of confidence is what captures respect, not just attention. Younger women may win the spotlight for a moment, but a woman who embodies grace, wisdom, and strength wins longevity. Don't ever trade long-term power for short-term validation. Confidence is your crown. Wear it. Don't let insecurity push you into comparison. Don't let fear convince you that youth is more valuable than authenticity. If a younger man chooses to be with you, let him see you as you are, not as a shadow of someone you're pretending to be. Because the truth is, pretending gets exhausting. Competing drains your energy. But authenticity, it frees you. So stand firm. Celebrate your experiences, your scars, your lessons, your growth. Don't chase youth, let youth chase you. And if he can't handle the fullness of who you are, then he was never ready to sit at your table in the first place. Remember, never compete with youth, because your greatest strength is not being younger. It's being unapologetically you. One of the greatest mistakes an older woman can make with a younger man is stepping into the role of financial rescuer. It may start small, covering dinner, helping him out with a bill, or supporting his dreams when he hasn't yet built the discipline to support himself. But if you're not careful, that small generosity can turn into a pattern where you become his provider instead of his partner. Relationships are meant to be built on mutual effort, not dependence. And when the balance of financial responsibility tips too far in one direction, respect begins to erode. Understand this: a younger man should never see you as his safety net. If you allow that dynamic to take root, you'll quickly find yourself pouring into him financially, while receiving little in return. And while money may not be the foundation of love, it is a reflection of effort, responsibility, and partnership. A man who cannot stand on his own 2 feet financially is not ready for the kind of relationship you deserve. It's not your job to raise him, to train him, or to carry him. It's his job to show you that he's capable of pulling his own weight. When you start rescuing a man with your wallet, what you're really doing is lowering your standards. You're telling him, it's okay if you don't meet me halfway. I'll do the heavy lifting. But love doesn't grow in imbalance. Respect doesn't flourish where there's dependency. You need a partner, not a project. And if you keep paying for everything, solving his problems, and making life easier for him, then you take away his opportunity to step up and prove his worth. There's also an emotional cost to playing the rescuer. At first, you may feel generous, even powerful, by being the one who provides. But over time, resentment builds. You start to feel used, taken for granted, and unappreciated. Instead of standing beside you, he's standing behind you, leaning on you, waiting for you to fix what he should be fixing himself. That is not love. That's imbalance disguised as companionship. Protect your heart and protect your resources. If he truly values you, he will come to the table prepared to contribute, not to collect. His contribution may not always match yours in dollars, but it must match in effort, responsibility, and consistency. You deserve a man who builds with you, not a man who drains you. A younger man worth your time will be eager to prove that he can stand tall, that he can lead, that he can invest in the relationship just as much as you do. So never make the mistake of becoming his financial lifeline. Generosity is a gift, but dependence is a trap. A healthy relationship is built on reciprocity, not rescue. Remember, your role is not to save him, it's to share life with him. If he cannot handle his own responsibilities, then he is not ready for you. Never sacrifice your standards. When an older woman enters a relationship with a younger man, there can be a subtle pressure to bend, to lower expectations, to make exceptions in order to keep the connection alive. Maybe it's the thought that he's younger, so he just needs time to grow. Maybe it's the fear that if you set the bar too high, he'll walk away. But here's the truth. The moment you compromise the values and boundaries that define your worth, you trade self-respect for temporary comfort, and that is a trade that will always cost you more than it gives. Standards are not walls meant to keep people out. They are doors meant to filter the right ones in. They protect you from wasting time on men who are not aligned with your vision, your lifestyle, and your goals. If you find yourself excusing irresponsibility, ignoring red flags, or tolerating behavior that goes against your principles just because he is younger, you're setting yourself up for disappointment. What you accept is what will continue, and if you set the standard low, you can't expect him to rise higher. A man, regardless of age, will always treat you according to the boundaries you enforce. If you don't demand respect, consistency, and accountability, then you will receive the opposite. But if you stand firm in your expectations, you give him a choice to step up or step aside. And the truth is, a man who genuinely values you will never be intimidated by your standards. He will be inspired by them. He will rise to meet them because he recognizes that you are not just any woman. You are a woman of worth. Too many women believe that lowering their standards makes them easier to love. But the reality is the opposite. Lowering your standards does not earn you love. It earns you misuse. It teaches a man that he can give you the bare minimum and still keep your attention. That's not love. That's settling. And when you settle, you rob yourself of the opportunity to experience a relationship where respect and effort are mutual. Your age, your wisdom, your experience, they have all taught you what works and what doesn't, what you need and what you refuse to tolerate. Do not throw away those lessons for the sake of keeping someone who hasn't yet proven himself. If he is the right man, he will meet you where you are. He may be younger, but youth is no excuse for irresponsibility, immaturity, or disrespect. You are not his mother, you are his partner, and that role demands equality. So protect your standards like you protect your heart. Let them be the filter that determines who stays in your life. Never water down your worth to make yourself more digestible. The right man will not ask you to shrink. He will grow so he can stand beside you. Remember, when you hold firm to your standards, you don't lose men. You lose boys who were never ready to be with a woman like you. Never downplay your experience, because your experience is your strength, your shield, and your crown. When you are with a younger man, it can feel tempting to soften, to hide, or to pretend like your years of living, learning, and growing aren't as important as they really are. Maybe you fear intimidating him. Maybe you don't want to seem like you're too much. But let me remind you, your experience is not baggage, it is wisdom. It is the very thing that separates you from the crowd and makes your presence irreplaceable. Life has taught you lessons that no book, no trend, no social media highlight reel could ever teach. You've survived heartbreaks, failures, victories, and comebacks. You've built resilience out of storms. You've learned how to see through words and recognize actions. Those are not weaknesses to be hidden. They are treasures to be honored. When you downplay that wisdom, you rob both yourself and him of the opportunity to build something real. Because what a younger man may lack in experience, you bring in abundance. Do not silence your voice to make him feel taller. Do not dim your light to make his shine brighter. If he is the right man, he will not be threatened by your wisdom. He will be drawn to it. He will see your perspective as guidance, not control. He will recognize your lessons as a gift, not a burden. And if he cannot, then he was never ready to walk beside a woman of your caliber. Your experience also protects you. It gives you discernment, the ability to spot red flags early, the courage to walk away from games, and the strength to demand consistency. When you forget your experience, you fall into traps that you've already outgrown. You start entertaining immaturity, tolerating disrespect, and excusing behavior that once upon a time you swore you'd never tolerate again. But when you stand on your experience, you can say, I've seen this before, and I know where it leads. That kind of clarity saves you time, energy, and heartache. There is also power in teaching, not in a mothering sense, but in showing by example. When you live confidently in the fullness of your experience, you show him what maturity looks like. You show him what accountability feels like. You show him that relationships aren't built on games, but on trust, respect, and effort. And if he is a man who wants to grow, he will rise, he will learn, and he will match you. But none of that can happen if you pretend to be less than you are. So never downplay your experience. Wear it boldly. Speak from it. Stand on it. It doesn't make you old. It makes you valuable. It doesn't make you hard. It makes you wise. And wisdom is magnetic. Remember, youth may attract attention, but experience sustains connection. If you want something real, never hide the very thing that makes you powerful. Your experience is your edge. Never give it away. Avoid investing too soon, because one of the most dangerous mistakes an older woman can make with a younger man is giving more of her time, her energy, her love, and her resources than he has earned. When the spark of attraction is strong, when the excitement feels fresh, it's easy to pour yourself fully into the relationship. You want to nurture, you want to build, you want to show him the depth of your love. But hear me clearly. If you give too much too soon, you leave nothing for him to prove and nothing for him to earn. Relationships are about balance. When you overinvest, you shift the balance in his favor. You start carrying the weight of the relationship while he coasts, enjoying the benefits of your effort without having to put in his own. This doesn't just exhaust you, it also teaches him that he doesn't need to do much to keep you. The more you pour in without receiving equal effort back, the more the relationship becomes lopsided. And a lopsided relationship always leads to resentment. You must understand that investment should follow consistency, not chemistry. Just because the attraction is there doesn't mean the foundation is strong. A younger man might be charming, exciting, and fun, but charm is not the same as commitment. Fun is not the same as loyalty. Excitement is not the same as effort. He must show you through his actions, through his consistency, and through his respect that he is worthy of the energy you give. Until then, hold back. Protect your heart. Protect your time. Overinvesting too soon can also blind you. The more you give, the more you want to believe he deserves it. That's how red flags get ignored. That's how standards get lowered. That's how you end up trying to convince yourself that he's the one, when deep down you know he hasn't proven himself. But when you pace yourself, when you match his energy instead of outpouring your own, you see him clearly. You see whether his actions match his words. You see if he is in it for the long haul, or if he's just enjoying the benefits of your generosity. This doesn't mean withholding love out of fear. It means giving wisely. It means letting him earn your trust, letting him prove his intentions, and letting him demonstrate that he can invest just as much as you. A younger man who truly values you will not run from that standard. He will respect it. In fact, he will rise to meet it. Because real men, regardless of age, don't want everything handed to them. They want to earn it. They want to show that they are worthy. So don't make the mistake of investing too soon. Let him do the work. Let him show up consistently. Let him pursue you, respect you, and match you. Only then do you open yourself fully. Remember, your love is not cheap, your time is not endless, and your energy is not replaceable. Give it to a man who has proven he deserves it, not to one who's simply available. Never forget the end goal, because when you step into a relationship with a younger man, it's easy to get swept up in the thrill of the moment, the laughter, the chemistry, the adventure. But attraction without alignment is a setup for heartbreak. You have to be honest with yourself about what you want, and you have to be clear about whether he wants the same. Is he looking for excitement, or is he ready for stability? Is he seeking a temporary chapter, or is he prepared for a lifetime story? These questions matter because if your goals don't match, no amount of attraction will keep the relationship standing. Too many women make the mistake of ignoring the signs. They know deep down that the younger man isn't looking for something serious, but they silence that inner voice because the connection feels good in the moment. They convince themselves that he'll change, that he'll eventually want the same things. But love is not about potential. It's about reality. If his actions and intentions don't align with your vision, you will always find yourself giving more, waiting longer, and sacrificing your own desires. Never allow your longing for companionship to blind you from the truth. If you want commitment, don't settle for casual. If you want partnership, don't settle for play. If you want a future, don't settle for someone who's only living in the now. Being clear about your end goal isn't about being demanding. It's about being intentional. It's about protecting your heart and your time. Because time is the one resource you can never get back, and every moment you spend with someone who doesn't share your vision is a moment you can never reclaim. There's also power in clarity. When you know your end goal, you attract men who align with it. You communicate differently, you set boundaries differently, and you carry yourself with a different level of focus. A younger man who truly values you will not be intimidated by that clarity. He will respect it. He will either rise to meet you, or he will reveal that he's not ready, and either outcome is a win for you. Because the wrong man falling away makes space for the right man to appear. Do not be afraid to walk away if your goals don't match. That's not loss, that's wisdom. Walking away protects you from years of wasted energy. Walking away tells the universe you refuse to settle. Walking away affirms that you value yourself enough to hold out for what you truly desire. So never forget the end goal. Don't let temporary pleasure distract you from long-term fulfillment. Don't let a spark of attraction make you ignore the bigger picture. Be honest with yourself. Be honest with him, and don't compromise on what you know you deserve. Because the right man, whether younger or older, will not only meet you where you are, but will walk with you into the future you've always envisioned. And that is the kind of love worth waiting for.